Hello and welcome to another video on the V10 project. In today's video I'm going to be making a start on the interior. I've done a couple of bits so far already. I've removed the seat that was in here and I've mounted up the E60G sensors. One's for the ABS or DSC system, it's a DSC sensor, and the other one's a lateral G sensor. And what the lateral G sensor's for is the S85 has two electric oil pumps on the side of the engine. I'll just jump underneath and show you. You might be able to see them. It has, they're the oil pumps, it has one on each side of the sump and then one on that side as well. And what they're for is under lateral load, it uses them pumps as like scavenge pumps to pump the oil round back into the front of the sump. And that's the sensor that controls it and sends the information to the engine ECU, the DME. So yeah, that's all sorted now. I've just trimmed the foam to sort of sit around it still. Sorry if the lighting's a bit poor. Sorry about that, the memory card was full. So I'm going to start off by taking all this out and then have a look at removing the heater box. Obviously, yeah, everything needs tidying up. I've sort of done this, the driver's side a bit. So I'm going to start on taking all this apart and sorting that mess out there, and pulling the heater box out. Okay, so as you saw on the time lapse, I pulled all the dash, like sort of strengthening bar out that everything mounts onto, pulled a load of the wiring crap out of the way and just had a bit of a rough tidy up. What I'm going to do now is disconnect the heater core lines. So those three lines there, I'll just put a bucket underneath to try and catch as much as I can, but most of the time it goes everywhere except where you want it to go. So I'm going to drop them off now, try and empty the core and then pull the heater matrix out. The heater matrix is out now. I didn't get too wet this time either. I've got to just empty all the rest of the crap out the car now really, and then if I remember rightly, I think it's the green foam pieces sort of go in first, and then I've then got to put the vents in that go from, I think, around here round to the back to the rear footwell. So I'm going to pull all the crap out, have a bit of a hoover up, and then have a look at getting the vents in. Okay, so all the carpet's back in now, well, the front half anyway. I've got the accelerator pedal fitted up. I stopped the time lapse because I was fighting with it for quite a bit to get it in the right position, but I know now that fits, that it is in the right position. I think the passenger side needs a bit more work yet. What I'm going to do next is, before I put the heater box back in, these are all the additional wires that I've added for the swap, and I'm going to try and tape all that up, so it's just when it's hanging down like that, trying to put the matrix in, it all gets tangled, So I'm going to grab the cloth, like cloth looming tape. I'm going to jump on that now. That's that part of the harness taped up. I still need to finish the sides off, but I'll do that once the heater matrix is back in. So what I'm going to do next is grab the matrix, put him in position, and then have a look at getting it all bolted in properly. That's the matrix back in its position. Whenever fitting not just E39 heater matrices, but all heater matrices, make sure that you've got the drain ports for any condensation build-up going into the drains properly, because otherwise that'll leak the moisture inside the car. The condensation, that's what you get when you park your car up in the summer with the AC on. That moisture that forms drops out under the car, and if you don't make sure it's located in the drains properly, you'll have that leaking inside the car. It's the nuts for the matrix at the moment are loose inside. It's better to do the nuts up on the outside first to pull it all the way forward to the bulkhead. So I mean, you've got one there, one in the middle, and one on the side down there with the AC pipes, and then there's the two rubber grommets to go back on after. So I'm going to do that now. That's all the heater hoses connected back up, and the grommets on, and the little cap on the bolt in the middle. I've got these two screws tightened up now, so now the bolts in the bulkhead pulled it forward. It's good to tighten them down. And then the next thing to go in is going to be the crash bar again. I've got the crash bar all back in now, as you saw on the time lapse. The column's bolted back up loosely for now, so I need to check the final positioning. I mean, all this wiring all needs clipping. It all gets clipped around the bar for the various sort of places that it goes to, and then there's all this side can sort of go back together as well. So I'll get on with that now. I've got I've got some of the wiring all tidied up down in the footwell and round on the crash bar as well. I just want to try to make sure everything still runs all right, because I've had all the wiring disconnected, and I ended up chopping and changing a couple of bits as well, so I just wanted to check. I've got to try and stash the E60 heater control somewhere. I think I'm going to put it in the boot. All it needs to be is connected on the CAN bus, and it needs to have a signal from the aircon pressure sensor. Just one of wherever he's gone. Where's he gone? Where's he gone? Should be here somewhere. That air compressor sensor normally sits in the dryer on a 39. If it doesn't have that, the radiator fan runs full speed all the time. Whereas if the E60 heater control's on the CAN bus and it's got a signal from that pressure sensor, the fan will vary the speed as required to maintain engine temperature. I've also obviously had all the heater heater matrix out, so I just need to bleed the system up as well, make sure that's all okay. So I'll just start him up. Started up first time. Whenever you're bleeding a cooling system, make sure the heaters are on full temp. So yeah, I'm going to bleed it up now. I'll have to take the camera off. I think the power steering pump's really quite noisy, so I think I'm going to have to change that at some point if it doesn't get any better. Well yeah, that's E60 heater control, just got the CAN bus, the sensor wire, power and ground. So I'm going to bleed the cooling system up now and I'll update you after. I've had it up running up to temp now, and bled the cooling system. There wasn't much air in there, so I think it's going to take a bit more to go through when it's running properly for longer. I'm probably going to end this video here now. I know it doesn't look like I've achieved much, but it is quite nice to get some carpet in there. I still need to do the back, but the back is a lot easier than the front. Once I've got the back in there, I can look in the handbrake on. The idea is I need to do all this to try and get it ready for an MOT, which is like a vehicle test every year in the UK before the car's to show the car's roadworthy. And the plan with this is I think I'm just going to run it to the boot, because it is literally just 4 wires that I need, so it's not going to be a hardship to move it into the boot. And then I still need to sort out the speedo. The E60 cluster is going to go, but I just need to get vehicle speed on the 39 cluster. I think I might trim the housing down on the E60 cluster and try and relocate it into the glove box. The reasoning for that is the electronic oil level. Trying to get a way to read the oil. People have fitted manual dipsticks and stuff like that in the sump, and I know with the laptop the oil level's working because I can see it in INPA. So I reckon once I've driven the car that'll work, so I'm going to move the cluster into the glove box. I think just trim all the cowling off there, and if it'll fit I'll leave it in there, and I'll move that to the boot. And the only other thing I've got to sort out is the E60 column stalk, which needs moving to the boot as well. I think I was hoping I was going to be able to hide it underneath the kick panel, but there's just not enough space for it. The only reason I need that is for the steering angle sensor, which I have got to sort out. But for now, as long as I've got functioning ABS in a straight line, that's better than having no ABS at all, the way I'm looking at it at the moment. There's no way you can fit that steering angle sensor on the 39 column. I've already looked. I might try and do something with the original steering angle sensor interface into the E60 one at a later date, but for now I just need to get the car on the road, see what works, see what doesn't, and go from there. So I'll leave this video here. Any comments, post in the comments section, I'll happily answer away, but I'll see you on the next video.